What up, everybody? This is Brian Gallagher, aka The Real Gallagher, aka look at that back there, over here, Lowry Parzu, aka TRG. But today is not about me. It's about my man Monty Choo, aka Changman. Is his stage name, and we're gonna get a little in depth with him and hopefully some other members of Foreign X. We're gonna keep rolling, and yeah, I'm just out here because it's very nice, and give you guys a little bit of scenery when we get into these questions. And we are about to leave Tampa, Florida, where I reside, but we're gonna go over to South Africa and visit Monty. So let's get to it. Let me go get set up over here.
Jillian Rose, Changman.
I know that you sometimes, way too often. Where you been, what you do, who you been dogging.
Let's get one thing straight. Guess it's not another love song today. See, between me and you, it is something special. From the day I met you, I knew you'd be unforgettable. But it's not just in the way that you walk, and it definitely ain't in the way that you talk. And it ain't in the way that you held my hand the first time I glanced in your eyes. I knew I was like in Wonderland. I just got lost, man, up in everything that you was busy.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. My man Changman, part of Foreign X, which is a musical group that's really, we have multiple talents, especially our man Voxbox in the genre department, but it's grounded or rooted in hip hop. And we'll talk to other members hopefully later on and tell more about the group as a whole once we kind of get together. But basically, we come from all over the world, and our man Monty Choo is in South Africa, and so today it is all about him. And so Monty, why don't you give us a little insight? Why don't you give everybody a little insight about how you and I met over the app, because we met over this app called Auto Rap by Smule. Plug. Also, which eventually evolved into Sing, also by Smule. You guys check it out. It's really great. It's like an online studio where you can all come together from all over and really have it's a basic studio, but it's still pretty good sound quality, and it's amazing what you can do in this day and age with that. But Monty, give everybody a little bit of insight about how you and I met on the app. Is my memory's suspect. Half the time I can't even remember how old I am. So why don't you see if you can refresh me and just everybody out there.
For sure. Alright, man. Well, gals, basically you and I met. Obviously, I can't say when you got into the app, but I found this app when a short while after I got my iPad Air, and I was obviously by that time already long time into the scene, and I found this battle app called Smule Dap, and I went on there and I noticed there was a lot of cats doing their thing, was busy freestyling and battling, and I battled a lot of them, and obviously a lot of guys started catching feelings, and a few others, caught the wave, and one thing led to another, and I found, I think you replied to one of my tracks, and all my boys listened to it. I said, yo, you gotta hear this cat. He's sick. He's dope. Dude has like shady flow, but he's so intelligent, and they actually were all telling me like, well, what's gonna happen? You battling this cat, or what's the deal? And I was like, nah, I gotta get this, I gotta get this guy on my team. And so you and me did so many collaborations at the time. And so I think that time, yeah, you were known as TheRealGallagher. And well, as it went from there, it escalated, and with the nations divided thing and all of that, and that time when there was beef, I had your back, and the times that people wanted to beef with me, you had my back. And so when somebody's being ill with you and when somebody isn't ill with you, and the rest, as they say, is history. So
Yeah, man, for sure. I remember, I guess it's probably like 3 years ago, huh? How time flies. But I had found Auto Rap through like the TV, I think it was. I saw like a commercial for it, and I was like, man, that could be, I thought you just auto-tune your voice. I was like, wow, that could be pretty cool for the kids. And this was like right after I kind of quit my chef career. where I was just like working 80 hours a week, and I was hanging out with them, and then I started listening to like some different people on there, and then I realized like you didn't have to do auto-tune, you could actually have your own voice on there, and I heard some people like battling here and there. It was kind of silly, and then I came across, you were one of the first people I think I came across, and I was like, whoa, I was like, dude, this dude's like dropping some real lyrics, man, and talking about real stuff here, not just, you know, some BS. And so I was like, I was just like inspired to instantly write something to it, and I wrote back, and then like you just came back and dropped another verse, and then I dropped another verse, and like in a matter of like 10 minutes I think we like went back and forth after it was posted, because anybody doesn't know, you post one verse and then another verse, each person gets 3 verses, and yeah, we just started doing some collabs and different stuff, man. And I had never even rapped before I got on that app at all. I mean, I grew up listening to hip hop and lots of music, and yeah, I just got on there. I was like, man, let's see what I can do after I heard you and some other guys, and you were definitely like one of the people who inspired me. So I just want to say thank you, and always coming real and just being a good dude, man. And yeah, I just grew from there, and that's how we started 4Next. Actually, we just started meeting more and more people. But let's get back focused on Monty Choo. Next question I want to ask you is, where are you from, and where were you born, and where have you been through life, and where are you now?
Well, I was born in 28 3rd Avenue, Craddock Place, Algoa Park. That's in Port Elizabeth, Eastern Cape, South Africa. So that's my birthplace. I'm African. It's my birthright. And I currently reside in Llewellyn Park. I lived there for 16 years in Algoa Park. Then I left to Cape Town and lived there for a further 8 years, and then came back home in 2010, and I've been living back in Port Elizabeth ever since then. You know, that's 6 years later.
Okay, time for a change of scenery. They were yesterday was lawn day. They're hitting up all my favorite spots, man. So I'm gonna switch some scenery. But anyways, Monty. Oh yeah, what was I was gonna say? First off, what got you into music, like hip hop or otherwise? What was maybe some stuff that inspired you or really got you into music? Let's hear a little bit about that.
I think the love for hip hop definitely started, you know, I was about 7 years old, and my brother actually brought home this Snoop Dogg tape, and it was white with the blue writing, and it was still his first album, Doggy Style. And I know it dropped in 1993, but I think this was around about 1994, because, you know, in South Africa we get everything later. And I just remember listening to these badass, you know, it was J beats at the time, and it was, you know, West Coast, but it was that southern, you know, Long Beach flavor. And you can imagine this young Chinese cat growing up in Algoa Park, busy running around, you know, screaming, fuck bitches, you know, and gin and juice, laid back. And I was just feeling it. I was feeling it. There was nothing like that at the time. I mean, I grew up listening to the radio for the most part, and my mom loved the Beatles. So, you know, my dad was, you know, into rock and roll. He was in a band with his brothers. So I didn't know hip-hop. I didn't know the power of rhyming. And so that was definitely when I fell in love with hip-hop, when it was telling me stories. And it wasn't just Snoop. You know, Snoop was the tip of the iceberg, but that's when I knew I loved it. Yeah.
All right, so got my little mount set up here. On the move, we're gonna keep it going. There's a lot of, I guess it was a long day over there. Plus it was really pretty hot, so take a trip over here to St. Pete. Gonna keep this interview going freestyle. Yeah, I'd like to hear. That's pretty dope about being in Africa, and I think we'd all like to hear a little bit more about Africa at some point, Monty. Especially like some of us in the States here, who you know, just like the media, you never know what's misconception and what's more real and stuff like that. So definitely get into that. But next is a question for myself, because honestly I don't think I've ever had you explain this to me or tell me. Where did you get the name Changman? Where does that come from? Not just for the fans, but for me too. And then also, what was the other question? Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you. You told me you got into the rap scene through battling and stuff like that. For a lot of people that don't know what battling is basically where you kind of like insult the other person while kind of rhyming, and you go back and forth. Usually, a lot of times it's 3 rounds or whatever, and sometimes it's time, sometimes it's you kind of let it go until each person's done with with whatever they wrote, and then but for me, I've actually, the more I watched it, it's actually almost, it's gonna sound crazy to some people, but it's almost like it's a counter to bullying. A lot of people think, wow, it's like encouraging bullying, but if done right, it's actually a like a counter to bullying, because you're taking something that's damaging and you're kind of making it comical, and and so yeah, tell us about how you got into that, and a little bit about your experience with battling, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, first off, I got the name Changman when I was in high school. I got it from a friend of mine, Subwarden, if you're watching this. And he actually came up with the name. It was like this character that he used to like write about, It was the short cartoons that he used to do. And Changman was just this Asian dude who was completely nuts. He used to fight all these guys and used to get all these ladies and used to just do the craziest things. And obviously he, earned the moniker Changman. And so when I came onto the scene, and obviously I wasn't like the other Chinese guys in my high school, or the Asian guys, because they were like Koreans, and they were from Korea. They have to walk around with this translator to understand what people were saying. And here I come along, and I've got this, sort of Americanized slang and way about me, and so they just couldn't figure it out. And obviously I was fighting mad guys in high school, so I asked him eventually, when they heard I could rap, can I get the name Changman? And he said, yeah, he said, yeah, you can use it, definitely. The battle scene, I think it's positive, but I think it's about the people who host it as well. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen battles that have gone down that have been, like proper, you know what I mean? And I've seen battles that go down where dudes where it's a white guy and he's in a group, of colored African American people, and he drops the word nigga in his rhymes. You know what I mean? And everybody just goes quiet. And then literally I had to save the dude's ass, because I'm fine. I can use the word, Ain't nobody going to take a lot of offense to that, because, they know me like that, And I'm Asian anyhow, and I'm part of the struggle. But when you're a white cat, and, marginally you're now surrounded by a bunch of African American people, and you just dropping the word nigga like you belong, in a negative, sense of the word, then you're going to raise some eyebrows, people going to catch some feelings, and I had to save the dude from getting a beating. So a lot of the time, yes, battling can be safe. I think it's a hell of a lot safer than, bullying, or a lot of the time, you want to get that pent up frustration and anger out. Do it in a manner that's fun. A lot of time you get crowds coming around and they'll laugh and they'll be entertaining, and, hey, you lose the battle, you don't lose the war. You go home, you write new material. It's like stand-up comedy. You come back again next week and you battle the same cat. You know what I mean? You get to wear the crown for another week, But generally, yeah, I think it's a very positive thing, and I see a big future for the scene of battle.
Great thing about doing things on your own time over here in St. Pete, stop, take a break, regroup, change into some cooler clothes, and then continue on. So that's what we're about to do right now. My homeboy Monty Choo. Let's get back to it. Okay, so you kind of answered my next question a little bit, and your last one, because I was going to say, to a lot of people that don't follow battling, there's been a lot of professionals that have marketed battling and have actually turned it into a profitable platform and venue. But also, you know, a lot of experience and people come along that kind of, like you said, host it in a way that, you know, everyone's emotions are in check, and people performing are professional about it and mature enough to make it comical and really turn into something positive. So I was gonna ask you, like over in Africa, maybe like where settings might be a little bit more raw settings, or I don't know, maybe it is more professional. Maybe they do have it more organized over there as well too. I don't know. But I was gonna ask you, have you seen anything happen to somebody, or has anything happened to you when you're battling? Have you seen anything crazy going on?
Well, look, like I said, definitely I've seen my fair share. That was probably the one that I had to actually save a cat. But at the same time, I've had a cat, you know, I was busy battling, who actually said something to me about my father. You know what I mean? And dudes who was with me, because the crew I was running with, you know, wasn't no stick figures, if you know what I'm saying. I just had to say jump, you know what I'm saying, and they jumped. So they came up behind me while dude was still busy, like, man, busy battling, and they're like, look, I don't care what happens, we fucking this cat up. And you know, I sort of had to be like, you know, calm down, I got this. And obviously I destroyed the cat, you know, dipped him. But the fact that things can get so out of hand. But me personally, nah, I never got swung on or nothing like that, because I think just my intelligence, you know, and my way with words is so overpowering that anybody knows that if you had to take a swing at me, you know, you just make yourself the bigger ass, you know. Rather go put pen to pad and come back next week and see if you can actually take me on. Otherwise, you know you're going to walk away the loser either way. You know what I mean? And there's always so many people watching the battles, and nobody's just going to really just, you know, just doing it. So, yeah, that's my experiences.
All right. So I've told you on several occasions that like when I listen to you, you remind me of Scarface, man. Scarface just had that raw voice, that raw emotions, like speaking about things that he was actually going through, or he saw other people going through that didn't have a voice, and he always brought a voice to those people. And so I've always said that you remind me of Scarface. And so what can you tell everybody, what is your aim for your music, and what do you look to express through your music to others and to yourself, unto the world? Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what is your aim, man? What do you look to accomplish or bring forth in the world with your music? The audio might get a little off here, but I felt like the audio's here in Monty is more important than everything syncing up. It's the African data over there. Y'all send some money to Monty for some better data over there. It sucks. But anyways, just listen and keep going.
I want to tell stories. Yeah. I want people to listen to my music and find it many, many years later. Like if I give it to you, I want your son to go through these old, you know, discs, or to go on the SoundCloud or whatever and find my page, and I want him to give a listen to my tracks, and it'll still be relevant, you know. I think a lot of the people nowadays, they can talk about Gucci, and they can talk about Prada, and they can talk about Versace and and these things will come and go. I'm telling you, you hear my words today, these things will come and go, because these things are trends. These things do not stand the test of time. But for me, if I tell you about the struggle of a single mother, you know, who has nobody to support her, who's busy raising a child on next to nothing, and still manages to do it while holding her head up high, that will stand the test of time. If I tell you the story about someone who's lost their legs in an accident, you know, and who still manages to wake up morning after morning and face the day, you know, that'll stand the test of time. I wanna tell stories that are gonna stand the test of time. That's my aim. That's my aim. My aim is to make you feel something. You know, I think a lot of the times we, especially in today's society, we don't want to feel things. We've become numb, because every day when you look at the newspaper and you look at CNN, or you look at Bloomberg, or you look at any of these things, and they show a lot of the times it's a lot of negative, the media impacts us negatively because, it's war and it's famine and it's all of this. And yeah, it's true. I'm not saying don't report on it. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I think a lot of the times they get to choose what they want to, show you. And is that fair? No, it's not. It's not fair when you've got, okay, there's a bombing on Paris and, God bless Paris and, all that. But at the same time, there are hundreds of people getting killed in Africa. Slaughtered, sorry. Because killed would make it sound like they dying of, hunger, which they are. Or dying of disease, which they are. Or dying because of lack of a basic human right like water, which they are. But no, I'm saying they're getting slaughtered because they're getting murdered by rebels. And the media don't show you that. They don't. So I hope with my music I can shed some light in these things. Yeah.
Okay. So, and today I want to get your take on this because we've talked about it as a group and reversing the stigma. But in today's age, it seems like the human hype is marketed more than the actual being behind it all. And so, and we want to get back to it connecting from a human standpoint instead of having, all doing it for the fame and the money and everything to actually give you a better life, make your life better, which is okay. But I guess it can work both ways. So the question is, does the music make the man, or is it the man that makes the music? What's your take on that?
I think me as a person, I'm a humanitarian firstly, and I'm an artist secondly. I can say that openly, and I can say that I don't mean to sound self-righteous because I'm not. I say that because I mean that. I say that because I've done a lot of things. The difference being, I ain't got to talk about it. There's a lot of people that have seen me do a lot of good things, and once again, I ain't got to talk about it. These are things that I choose to not talk about. So in that regards, yes, I'm an artist because I feel like I do discuss these things. These are things I talk about, and these are things that people need to know, and so that's why I talk about them. Does the music make me? In other words, when I do the music and when I talk about these things, does it make me want to go out and do good? Yes. But I also feel like the good that I do go out there and do makes me want to highlight all the rest of the good that can still be done. I mean, I'm one person at the end of the day. I can't save the world, I can't save the world. I can take care of, the homeless guy that's on my corner, every day, who lost it all incoincidentally. Or I can take care of the car guards that are down the way, that are at Medicross every single day because I can see them. And when I've got clothes and winter's coming up and I've got some warm clothes, I can give that to them. Then at least it'll last them for the next one winter. But I'm one guy. And in a world where 90% of the population only has 10% of the wealth, and 10% of the population own 90% of the wealth, something's got to give. And it's going to take all of us to make it right, not just me.
I really love that answer, man. I'm a humanitarian first and an artist second. To me, that's like just deep in my heart, and I think that's why it's deep in all of our hearts, man. Kevin and Chow and Bernsey, all those guys, man. I feel like that's what we got to get back to, like be the humanitarian first, and the artistry comes second, man. The art can never be ahead of the human being. So that's like I'm like blown away. I'm kind of like in awe right now with that response. I'm like kind of tongue-tied, but yeah, man. And I feel like I love it too, because I feel like now we can actually kind of I see these videos promoting, like you said, the stuff that's gonna fade away, but where's the video about going down to the homeless shelter and helping people and doing some things like that, man? where's the videos of putting the money back into the community and stuff like that? And I know like a lot of people feel like, oh well, that's just, you know, marketing that stuff to get more fame and more popular. But you know, at the end of the day, so what if it is, man? If you're doing good, man, that should be the first priority. Is that comes before the art. So let me get into the next question, man. Recruit myself after that awesome answer. All right, man. It's been a lot of fun hearing you and stuff, and getting to, even for me, man, it gives me a little more insight to you as a person. And I know you're very passionate about a lot of things, man. I love your intensity. I think that's why you and me like have always clicked so well. It's because we're both like intense guys, man. So it's been a lot of fun. We'll get more in depth with you as an individual and the rest of us as an individual and as a group at a later date. But can you tell me what do you got coming up, or what do you have in the works, or maybe if you want to give any shout outs to anybody, or just, you know, you take the mic for a minute, man, and just tell us what's going on with Changman, and you give me the links afterwards, and I'll make sure I stick it in the video to all your social media sites, because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure you're gonna tell them about Feeding Time, man. You guys gotta check out this mixtape, man. It's so raw. It's really impressive what we're doing with, like, I mean, Zero Studio, man. We're connecting from all over the world and doing stuff with just basic stuff that's available now because of technology. And I think it's pretty impressive, some of the stuff we're doing. So go ahead, Monty, give your shots out, or tell us what's up with you, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Peace, and I can't wait, man, to see more of Africa when we start doing some more of the stuff later on.
Well, okay, just to all my fans, obviously out there, I want to say thank you, firstly, for supporting my music through all these years. I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time. From way back in Cape Town to the days in PE where, you know, cats used to see me recite Slim Shady's lines. You know, I respect everybody's love for me, and I respect everybody's opinions along the way, and everybody who's helped me just reach these plateaus that I've managed to reach. You guys mean the world to me. I want to say thank you to everybody who's involved in the movement at the moment. And then I mean globally. I mean Foreign-X. I mean here at home. Obviously, you know, I've got something underlying brewing as far as maybe looking at a record label opening up. There's a good possibility of that. I'm looking at my second mixtape dropping, which is called Feeding Time Volume 2. Shout outs to all the artists that's gonna appear on that. So shout outs to the entire Foreign-X, you know you are. Shout outs to CJ, shout outs to Schizo Freddy, shout outs to Incognito, shout outs to Jillian Rose, shout outs to my homegirl Lace Glow. Yeah, just shout outs to everybody who's gonna be a part of it. Shrooms. There's so many names I could drop, yo. But that's what's to look out for at the moment. Definitely keep your eyes out for that, and any support, you know, in spreading that music will be greatly appreciated. If you want to know more, obviously, see more of me, you can check out my YouTube page. It's at Monty Choo. And if you want to check out, you know, my Facebook artist page, it's going to be Changman, the Lone Wolf. So anytime you want to look me up, you look up the Lone Wolf, or you look up Changman, or you'll look up a combination of the two, and you will find me. Of course, Monty Choo, that's also at Monty Choo. That's on Twitter. Then you'll know that's me. And yeah, if you guys ever want to ask me anything, I'm always out to help fellow artists. Then y'all let me know. But for now, I'm going to say peace and give y'all day and night back. One.
us.